Alasdair, hello.
Sam, hello. Happy anniversary.
Oh my goodness, happy anniversary to you too. This is such a fond memory.
I have such fond memories.
Oh, you know what, of this little show? I've got such fond memories.
Such fond memories. All I can hear about is Doctor. It's not even a quote.
There's a bit in the Five Doctors, she just goes, Doctor, look out, Cybermen. And like, that's the only thing I can think of right now. Cybermen.
Janet Fielding is so funny. I love her so much. So much. Anything behind the scenes, her and Peter Davison, or Pete, as she affectionately calls him, they're so funny. It's
so fun. But she really gives me like Russell T Davies energy online sometimes, where someone will be like, oh, I don't like that they did this, and blah, 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 and she'll just quote tweet it and be like, tough.
Extreme RTDNG online this week. Speaking of, at time of recording, he's just been on the One Show tonight with Mr. David Tennant, and they've given a few little teasers for the anniversary episodes ahead.
He did. I was very excited to see that. It was nice to hear, because this is oh my god, this is kind of a big episode of Wholala. This is the last episode of Wholala before the Whoniverse officially kicks off. It's sort of kicked off. We had a mini kickoff. We had an amuse-bouche, but this is the last episode before the Star Beast comes out. So
that was a good word.
Thank you so much. So by the time the next episode comes back, je m'appelle un Doctor Who fan. My name is a Doctor Who fan. Very exciting. It was nice to see. I saw them on the One Show. It was they were saying about how the specials are all basically like 3 separate stories. You could kind of watch them in whatever order you wanted.
Yeah. I knew that they were going to be like quite episodic, but they'd be quite contained.
Yeah.
Like I'd assumed that one would wrap up, and then in the last 5 minutes there'll be a bit of a cliffhanger of, wait, Doctor, you leave me at home. You take this TARDIS back right now. It's like, I'm not doing anything, or something like that, or whatever it is. But I'm interested to see where it goes. The first one they say is like the big, warm family film Christmas special kind of vibe. Familiar Doctor Who, like conventional structure, familiar characters. The second one is unlike anything you've ever seen before.
Scary, apparently.
Yeah, scary, but not dark. Scary, kind of, ooh.
Yeah, what's going on?
But not like, he said, well, I don't trust anything Russell says anymore. And then the third one is zany, wacky bananas. And that's the that's the Toy Maker special.
Yeah, no, that's the one that's like the big epic, like that'll be the conclusion, that'll be what we're all leading towards. I'm sure there's going to be classic RTD things of like little Easter eggs and like little quote-unquote droppings, for want of a nicer word, to lead us all there. I think even within the specials, they'll be setting up what's going to happen in the first Shooty series.
Some little teasers for Series 1.
Yeah, I find it, I completely appreciate why they've done it, and I do think it's the right idea for Doctor Who to like rebrand Series 1, but I find it too confusing. I think they need another one. We've got Season 1, we've got Series 1, then they need to call it like, I don't know, Part 1, Chapter 1, or something. I don't know.
I think it's all right. In my head, I just go Series 1 2005 and Series 1 2023, and I feel like that's okay. For me, like, when you look at us now, heading slowly towards 30...
Very slowly.
And we're reminiscing about our childhood with Doctor Who. Very slowly. And we're reminiscing about kind of like, oh, when we were kids, when Doctor Who was on in standard definition 480p, and that's the only version of it you can now get. You know, I feel like I'm like, okay, maybe time to start again. Like, at the point that we're like, childhood, that. You know, goodness. You know, people who Doctor Who is now aimed at were born on or after the 50th anniversary.
So yeah, there are people who like didn't even watch David Tennant Zero Live, and I always forget that when we talk. I feel like I want to become very conscious that I don't want to become the kind of fan of a TV show in general that like gatekeeps, and it's like, oh well, you weren't there when I was watching it. You know what I mean? So like, I do agree. I think, you know, new audiences as well are going to be coming to this new series, and it's not right for them to have to be like, okay, let's jump on at series 14. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I kind of also want to like, I want Doctor Who to have new fans with the ferocity that we have. You know how like Gen Z teens go like crazy for like the most like, there'll be something in like, there'll be like an Eddie from Stranger Things, and they'll just make that whole personality for like 2 years. Like I want it to be one side character in new Doctor Who.
Isn't that Nardole?
Is it? Well, that's what Nardole deserved, wasn't it? Really, is that kind of stand following.
I've seen so many funny tweets recently where they'll like show like the most dramatic print screen of a Peter Capaldi episode, and they'll be like, Series 10 was wild because we'll have this scene followed by Nardole taking a shit.
Oh,
It's so
gross.
funny. Well, look,
Gross.
if the past is anything to go by, this is the anniversary celebration on Wholala. It's only going to be getting better from here. It's all been good Doctor Who, but I had a quick look actually, because this is the 60th anniversary celebration that we're celebrating here on Wholala. Happy anniversary day to everyone listening. I had a quick look at the IMDb scores for Classic Who and New Who 2005 to 2022.
Oh my
8.4 out of 10 was Classic Who. 8.6 out of 10 is New Who. So the Whoniverse era, judging by those standards, 8.8.
8.8, I think, take up a 0.2 every time. I mean, how objective are these? These are like fan ratings, aren't they? These aren't like just professional
No,
scores.
these are
but
all
you're
fan
saying
ratings.
in that battle, Classic and New Who, you're saying that so far
It's only going up.
New Who has slightly won out as well so far.
Ever so slightly, but ever so slightly, I'll say, by barely a smidgen. So
Barely a smidge. Barely a smidge. Yeah, it's exciting. Anniversary day. I can't believe we're finally here. I don't know how long ago it was that we actually saw the Camden filming scenes take place. It feels like it's been a very
oh my god, let me have a look. I remember I was working. It would have been 28th of July 2022 was when Wilf was seen filming.
long time since we knew this was coming.
Exactly, long time since. It's crazy when I think about how long ago it was announced that Russell was coming back, and now we are literally a few days from seeing the first episode.
It's pretty surreal. It's
It's
going to be a
wild.
great week. I've got 2 days off just for this.
I've got some days off for it too.
I didn't need 2 days off.
No, you
But I've
do
got them.
though. We've been talking. I was kind of doing the maths in my head, and I was like, okay, so Monday we're recording the podcast. Tuesday I'll edit the podcast. Wednesday's Gallifrey Cabaret. Thursday is anniversary day. Bargain Hunt and the colorization of the
do need the time
Daleks.
off.
You do need the time off.
Yeah.
And then I think Thursday, Friday are going to become kind of like Wholala content farm days as well. And then Saturday's the screening day. We're hosting a viewing party.
Well, that's it. That's my schedule for the Thursday, right? With all this time off is like 1:15 p.m. finish Bargain Hunt. 1:15 to 6:30 p.m. wait for the Daleks in colour. It's just like a 6-hour gap where I'm just sitting.
It's okay. I'll come sit with you. It's fine. I'm not doing anything that day.
You'll sit with me. We'll have a little drink. We'll raise a glass to Doctor Who.
Exactly. Can I show you something that I've bought? This is Wholala listeners. We're having some friends around to watch the anniversary special. I bought a couple things today. Can I show you on camera? It's not
show
that
me.
exciting.
Don't downplay it. I'm excited.
For the viewing party that Alistair is hosting at his, we were both saying we want to have Doctor Who snacks.
Yes.
One of the things that Alistair said, which I think is an amazing idea, is adipose marshmallows. So I did buy a pack of the big marshmallows.
Oh,
and I
yeah,
thought
nice.
we could like get little chocolate like faces on them or something.
Yeah.
I was also thinking, because we're going to make Doctor Who themed snacks and stuff, but I was like, what's some stuff that's very low maintenance but is still Doctor Who? So we have a pack of Jelly Babies.
Yes, essential.
course.
Very well done. We could put them in little paper bags.
That's what I was thinking. And then the only other thing I have at the moment is 2 packs of Jammy Dodgers. Because I was
I buy them like every 4 days. I go through those so fast.
so you know what, you can have them for leftover. Can I give you... I don't want to spoil it for the people who will come, but I also don't care that much. Can I give you some
No.
other ideas I'm having?
Go on,
So,
they don't listen to this.
some of them do. So, Beep the Meat cupcakes with white icing and like a little chocolate button on top with a little face, like 2 chocolate buttons for the eyes and like a little face.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah. How are you going to do the ears?
Icing, I guess, like
Yeah.
little piped ears. One thing I thought that would be really funny, which I don't know if I'll commit to doing, is a sheet tray cake as Cassandra.
Oh, why did you do the Cassandra lasagna?
Well, I thought about Cassandra lasagna, but then I was like, who's going to come to a viewing party and have like a cold lasagna?
No, and also you wouldn't really want anyone to cut into it because it's immediately lost. You just kind of want them to observe the Cassandra lasagna and appreciate that you've done it.
The Cassandra lasagna is such a funny one. I would love to see people do this one where they like make little cake sections and they do fish fingers and custard, but they like bread pieces of cake in custard.
Yeah, that's quite cute. I've just had an idea as I saw your marshmallows because I was like, the white ones can be the adipose. What do we do with the pink ones? I was thinking, why don't we make some tiny oud? What you do is, you get like strawberry laces. You could just do strawberry laces and marshmallows, draw little faces on them. Oud.
I'm down for that. I think oud for the pink ones, the adipose with the white ones. I saw someone online, they like had like, I think it was like an apple with like a grape head and they made it a Slovene where they like had like raisin eyes and like they had
that.
Like that was quite silly. Also, you can have the apples with the faces cut out. I think that's quite fun.
Apples with the faces cut out. What for?
For the apple, fresh as the day I gave it to you, Amy.
Oh, right. It's a niche one. That's just a
It was a
prop.
niche. It's just a prop, but I thought it was cute.
Prop. It's going to go brown as well.
Yeah, exactly. I also thought Sonic Screwdriver cocktails for the screwdrivers.
Yes, that's a really, really good one. That is a really great one.
Yeah.
But we're progressing. It feels like it's like 2013 all over again, doesn't it?
I don't know about you. I was not hosting Doctor Who viewing parties in
2013.
No,
I wasn't, but this was the kind of activity that we were meant to be doing. We were told this was our duty to be hosting this kind of thing. And now we're grown, adult, independent men.
Yeah.
And here
fulfilling
we are.
the prophecy.
The one thing I really want that... fulfilling the prophecy.
I know, I was going to say, what are you doing? Fulfilling the prophecy.
My flatmates. Well, my flatmate said, like, I'm a bit nervous for Saturday because you can have all these like quite intense Doctor Who people over. And I was like,
oh my God.
They're really nice. Like, it's not
they're
like
lovely.
We don't mind if you don't know Doctor Who. It's going to be fun.
I've had to already say to like Nick and my housemate who's coming too, they were like, what are we going to do? Oh my God, my housemate would have stressed you out because my housemate's coming. He's not a Doctor Who fan. And he was like, oh yeah, no, I'm so excited. It's fun. It's like Drag Race. It'd be like a viewing party. And I was like, no, because like, we're not going to
sit
talk.
Quietly.
We're going to sit quietly and watch. And he went, oh, but that's not the point of a viewing party. And I think he thought we'd go and all be like, hey, look at this. And I was like, no. We're going to sit quietly and enjoy it. And then if you want to talk, we'll watch it again.
You can talk over the second watch. Like, I'm not kidding. The schedule, by the way, this is, if anyone's hosting a party, this is idea, by the way. First of all, we've got to have a good sound set up. And I do have a good sound set up. And so that's going to be completely fine. People have rightly, I encourage people to decline. People have declined rightly because they're like, I need to be in a controlled environment. I need to have clear sound. I can't have anyone speak over things. I need the subtitles big enough. I need the sound loud enough. I need to be no interruptions. And I'm like, I completely respect that. Don't come.
Yeah.
Absolutely fine. In fact, if anything, I'd be stressed for you. So don't come.
Yeah.
So the correct way to do it, 6:30 to 7:30, play Doctor Who. If anything, I think you want a bit of a build-up where you play a bit of Murray Gold in the 30 minutes prior. Turn that off with good time, just so we can switch over to either BBC One HD or iPlayer. I haven't decided which one yet.
I think BBC One HD is the safer option.
Or you'll have the lag, won't you? And then I think rewatch after Doctor Who Unleashed, which you have to watch immediately afterwards. And when you rewatch it on iPlayer because then it'll be in 4K Ultra HD.
Yeah.
And then you'll have it
and
even
then that's
higher
where
quality
you could
the second time.
That's where you could like chat amongst like have drinks and stuff.
Exactly. Then you can send your tweets. We can come up with our memes. We can do a bit of an in-game commentary together. Oh, I didn't notice at that time. Oh, that's really. Oh, I love this bit. That sounds like the way to do it. But yeah, so lots of exciting stuff happening coming up. I think we should quickly talk about Destination Scar because you didn't get a chance to talk about it. Oh yeah, I thought it was a really fun episode. The only downside for me was the comedy music they sliced in. I'd love to see a cut without that music. It became really jarring really quickly. Like, it felt like it was like stock music on a loop. It was really weird.
I've spoken to a few people about this, and when we had Laura on the podcast last week, she was saying the same thing. It just felt a bit like they were like, oh, it's children needs, it's funny, right? Do you remember Russell T Davies before was like, it's not a comedy bit. It's not a comedy bit. And everyone was like, you liar!
You liar! However,
you liar.
Everything else, I think getting back Julian Bleach was such a gag. I thought the
inspired
lighting was gorgeous. I really liked like the classic Dalek voice, like the attention to detail with that. Even the animation of the TARDIS like crashing in at like insane speed looked really great. 14 bursting into life was super fun. I think, there's just loads to like about it. I mean, I think that someone kind of put it right, I think, in the reply to one of our tweets on Wholala Pod. And they were just like, harmless fun. And I'm like, pretty much. Like, harmless fun. It was a really good-natured, fun, thoughtful little 5 minutes. Chris Chibnall, I think, described it as being like respectful and disrespectful at the same time. And I was like, bingo, like that's what it is. And it's fun. The way it sparked like, you know, almost a week of solid discourse off the back of it is truly quite impressive given it's 5 minutes long.
I was just like, I remember before it happened, people were like, oh my God, we're going to get the new TARDIS interior. We're going to get the new Dalek design. And I was like, it's a children need special. It's going to be a light-hearted, short, non-consequential piece of fun. And I'm amazed it's created this big discourse. I mean, I don't want to get involved in it. I just think I agree with Russell. You move with the times. I think Doctor Who always brings in a young audience as well. It's meant for everyone of all ages, but like us watching, I saw something the other day. They were like, me sat in Children Need 2005, ready to watch David Tennant's first scene as the new Doctor. Also, me sat in 2023, ready to watch Children Need and see David Tennant's first scene as the new Doctor. I thought that was really funny. If I had a nickel for every time David Tennant had his first scene as the Doctor in Children Need special, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't much, but weird that it's happened twice.
Yes. I mean, if you want to get upset as well about things breaking the canon, I would say take a look at Death is the Only Answer, the mini-sode with Albert Einstein. Does he become an Ood in that?
He becomes an Ood, yeah.
He becomes an Ood in that. Or I want to say Olympics or Children in Need, one of the specials, but it involves like the Olympic torch and a Weeping Angel.
It was written by kids at a school, I think, and yeah, the Weeping Angel was chasing him during the Olympics.
Right. So, listen, canon breaking, we've done it. It's fine. Doesn't matter. None of it's canon.
What I always find funny is when people argue about what they choose to do on the show because it contradicts something that's happened in Big Finish. And I love Big Finish, but the way that I think about it is that Big Finish is canon until it's proved otherwise. So like there's the main show, and then there's all the expanded media. There's the comics, there's the books, there's the audio dramas, there's Big Finish, there's audio books, there's all kinds of other media, there's radio dramas. And I think take it, everything's canon. Another thing is take it all as canon if you want, but then when something happens on the show, it just means, oh, well, that's not canon anymore. Like it's not that consequential to me.
It's an alternative timeline, or some timey-wimey nonsense happened.
I think timey-wimey nonsense is good.
I like that Russell seems to have a pretty fluid approach to all of this, which I think is a really positive thing, because I think otherwise Doctor Who would just collapse under its own weight very quickly. Mm-hmm. And, even in this little special, we'd said something in there about like, the canon is rupturing, timelines are changing or whatever. And it's like, it all lends itself to this idea of like, well, listen, all of this can be rewritten, all of this can change. It happened and it didn't. And it's the same in like Tales of the TARDIS. Like, how do you explain old Doctors coming back? It's like, well, in some timelines I regenerated, in others I got old. Like, it doesn't really matter. Like, and we won't discuss it any further. And I'm just like, why should we? Like,
we can just enjoy it for what it is. Let's just enjoy it for what it is. It's our silly little blue box show. Some things matter, some things don't. Nothing matters,
and it's good
everything
TV.
does.
Like, at the end of the day as well, like in that, because like, I mean, listen, like Tales of the TARDIS, I think they describe that as, inverted commas canon, right? And that contradicts things that we saw before, right? Now we've got these new, like, older Doctors, and that's fine, and that's great. And what I like about that is it doesn't really dwell on the why at all in those episodes. Everyone who appears in the TARDIS is like, it looks like a TARDIS, but it's not the same as I remember it. I think it's a memory TARDIS. Yes, a memory TARDIS. And anything can happen here if we remember it. I think it wants our stories. Yes, me too. Oh, this chair's suddenly. Oh, how did... And it's just fine. Like,
it's just silly and fun.
How did the TARDIS make a chair? Why does the TARDIS want stories? That doesn't make any sense. Like,
I know.
It doesn't matter why, because it's emotional and it's nice. That's why.
I know. And it was emotional. It really did, like, draw emotion out of you. Like, watching people like, Seven and Ace finally get their, like, proper send-off and seeing Tegan and Five reunite. Like, I don't really care why it's happening. It's just fun that it is.
It's just fun that it is. A memory TARDIS, what a stupid idea, but it's great. It works.
I love it. Well, speaking of stupid ideas that work, I would like to ask you some questions, because as of the day that this is going out, Bargain Hunt is aired.
Oh, the Bargain Hunt confessional.
Bargain Hunt confessional, right. So anyone who hasn't watched it yet, Bargain Hunt is now live. You can go on iPlayer and watch it. As of time of recording, we haven't seen it, but I want to ask you some questions because we can finally talk about it. Tell me about it. Tell me about your side of the story.
Do you think I'm going to get the Whoniverse intro when you go back on iPlayer? It's...
Something tells me you probably won't.
No, I think this is one of the unofficial spin-offs that you will not see RTD post about Bargain Hunt on the day. He will.
Is
not
it going to be in the Doctor Who
what?
Section on iPlayer?
Not only is it not in that section, there will be no acknowledgement from the BBC Doctor Who account that this happened. Just by the way, there'll be none that this has happened. And that's fine with me, because I think it's the right laugh. Technically, I will always be able to say that I was on BBC One on the Doctor Who anniversary with a good, like, I'm hoping, I mean, I don't know how much I'm actually in it today. I'm going to guess I get 10 minutes of screen time.
I can see that for you, because tell the audience who's listening why it might not be longer than that.
Oh, because I was ill for the second half and I fought with everything in me to be in the second half. but I was right down the road in a hotel ready to film the final section for the auction day. And I was so ill with it. I assumed tonsillitis, but I've like had my tonsils out. I don't really know what it was. But I was like, that night, I mean, I was sending you and Nick like little snap videos from the hotel room, and I was like, I'm gargling the salt water. This better work.
You're like, I'm trying. You literally drove all the way to Wales and were in the hotel room ready to film the next day. And then
I was just desperate. I just couldn't do it. And I also didn't want to make anyone else sick. That was the thing as well. I didn't feel that ill when I headed down, and on the way there in the car, I was like, oh, this isn't good. So no, I mean, whole story goes, me and Sam applied together to be on it. Sam wasn't available to be on it because of a wedding clash. I invited David to be on it, David from the Who Watch, David, friend of the pod, previous guest of the pod, and also wasn't available to be on it. And then I brought my sister along, who was marvellous, wonderful Anna. We had so much fun together. Anna's done an episode on here with me before. We're both, lifelong Who fans. I say lifelong, not lifelong. Since the renaissance of Who, since 2005, we've been fans of the show together. And so much fun to go and do it together. We had such a good time recording it. Anna is in the whole thing all the way through. Anna carries it for us. We did these auditions. We were successful. They, I guess, didn't really screen for location because both us and the other team are from the southeast. The other team were from Kent. So the filming took place in Carmarthen and then in Bath. So both times there was quite a lot of travel involved in that. But it was such a good experience. Like, Reese and Carrot of Gallifrey Cabaret have done a regular bargain hunt before and said how much fun they had. They're like, everyone's so nice, you're going to have such a good time. And it's true, like, everyone involved in that production really looked after us. I'm pleased to report that, like, the crew behind Bargain Hunt are such good eggs. They are such lovely people from casting through to production. Everyone was a gem, and it was just exactly how you'd think it is. Like, turning up, like, their green room was essentially like, I don't know what it was. It was like a bit of like a stable. It was like this, truly like a storeroom. And you turn up on the day and your table is laid out for you. Like, your name is written down. There's a Kit Kat and a pack of biscuits and a Bargain Hunt cup and your fleece in the size that you've requested, and it's got your name stickered on it. And you're like, oh my God, that's my Bargain Hunt fleece. The production team was so lovely, all looked after us. And Eric Knowles came along and he really made like an effort to introduce himself to everyone and get to know us and ask us questions. And this was all off camera and just him being like a lovely man and making sure everyone's really comfortable and saying it's gonna be a really fun day. And then we met our expert, as you'll see on the show, who was Richard Madley, who again was just like a lovely, lovely man. And we just had such a good time. Our director for our shoot was really, really funny and really pleasant. He had a very funny story about having previously filmed Billy Piper and David Tennant together. Behind the scenes with them was, I think they just announced David Tennant in the role. Like, they'd recently cast him and they were doing like a bit of a press bit together. And this kid had won a competition to get to go and interview David Tennant. And that kid like completely froze like on the day, like couldn't get like a question out, and the team was like, oh God, this is really bad. Like, and it was obviously all like capped. Like, he only got like his like 5 minutes or whatever, and the 5 minutes was kind of up, and he hadn't really asked anything. And at the end, he kind of gets out this like poster that he's had rolled up the whole time, and he like slowly, like sheepishly unrolls it, and they were like, "Oh my God, has he had that all along?" Like, "Oh, okay, yeah." And he's like, "Could you sign this, please?" Gives it to David Tennant. It's a big poster of Christopher Eccleston. And he was like, "Oh, shall I sign it from Chris?"
Oh my God, bless him.
So no, that was his story. But I'll do a little bit of a spoiler here. There's one moment in the show where I make a really bad spending decision. It is our second purchase. Maybe I won't say what it is, but I panicked a bit. I thought we had less time than we did. The 1 hour they give you really goes fast. Like, it feels like 20 minutes. And even though you are walking so slowly around this place with your presenter, like, it zips by. And I panicked. It was like, okay, well, you've got 20 minutes to go and you still haven't made a big spend. So I panicked and I bought an item I'm not proud of. And I didn't consult Anna before I bought it. And I did it in such a rush, haggling so badly, that the camera crew were like, wait, what did you just buy? And I was like, oh my God. And Anna was like, what did you just buy? And I was like, Anyway, it's all on camera. I don't know how it's come out in the edit.
I'm so excited for everyone to see it.
It was great. Like, it was such a good day. If you're thinking about applying to the Gone Bargain Hunt, just do it. Like, it's such a good time. So Anna went along. She was a real trooper. And in the morning, they went into the green room, the production crew, to explain that I wasn't there. And apparently they announced it like I died. They were like, hey, everyone. So you'll remember Alasdair from the last show. I'm really sorry to say, like, Alasdair's not been able to make it this time. Like, he's not here today. And Anna was like, he's fine. He's fine. He's fine. But it was very like, Anna's really going to like carry the beacon for him. Anna's really going to like carry this one through today. And Anna was like, yeah, I'm doing it for him. I'm doing it for him. So the second half looks like I just died very suddenly, because the way they cut it is like, and let's go to the auction right now. And then there's a month between filming that and then the auction. And I'll just look like I got lost in transit between those two things.
They probably would say you went off in the TARDIS or something. Time scooped again. It wouldn't be the first time.
It wouldn't be the first time.
Well, look, that's something I'm very excited for in the coming anniversary celebrations to Doctor Who. But I wanna segue ever so slightly to some other things we're excited for. Do you know what that might be?
Oh, what?
We've got some lovely voice notes from Wholala listeners.
Oh!
Well, we love hearing from you guys on all of our socials, but we especially love putting you into episodes of Wholala because it feels so communal. I really love getting to talk with you guys and hearing what you have to say about Doctor Who. And for the 6th anniversary celebrations, I didn't want it to just be mine and Alice's voices, much as I love our voices. So we reached out to you on our socials and we asked you what were you most excited for coming up and what were your favourite moments in Who history. And you had some really fun things to say.
You had so much fun stuff to say. I love hearing from you lot. It makes it sound a lot less narcissistic when we have some other voices in the mix. I love it.
I love it. So here is a voice note that Emma sent us through.
My favourite Who moments are probably the regenerations because they're just so full of happiness and sadness and joy in the best sort of ways. I love the speeches and how they're just able to say goodbye to their doctors, and they never fail to make me cry, like even the really old ones just have this way about them. And I'm really looking forward to seeing David Tennant back as the Doctor, you know, under Russell with Murray Gold's music, because I never got to see David Tennant as the Doctor when he was in his original tenure or in the 50th. So just being able to see him as the Doctor just for a little bit is the best thing that could have happened for me. Thanks. Bye.
I love that. I also agree so completely about regenerations. It's such an interesting, like, not to get too deep about it, but it's such an interesting, like, perspective on death, like in a way that's never, I think, ever been shown in any other kind of TV, like moving into like a new version of yourself. The way it's described in the new show, like letting one version of yourself die and then a new version of yourself is born that retains all the same memories but is a different person. Mm-hmm. Very interesting way of looking at kind of like life and death. I'd love to go out as well when I die in a burst of regeneration energy. Like, I'd like to be on the deathbed and then just be like, look at my glowing hand and be like, oh, here we go.
Coming.
Oh,
it's coming.
And then just blast off. It'd be great. I mean, you know, and if I just evaporate at the end of that process, so be it. But I mean, what a cool exit.
I like that with Jodie's regeneration, it wasn't a sad thing, because quite often, especially with like David Tennant's regeneration, he's like, oh my god, I don't want to die, I'm gonna die. And then with Matt Smith's, he was kind of like, you know, okay, I'm making my peace, the doctors are coming. 12th Doctor, he was like, okay, Doctor, I let you go. He was kind of serene. Whereas the 13th Doctor with Jodie, she was very like excited to see what was coming next. She was like, oh, I'm annoyed, I want to be there for this, but you know, Doctor, whoever I'm about to be, tag, you're gonna have a great time. And it is always very emotional. And I love, like you were saying earlier, that you get to now see David Tennant as the Doctor on screen, because he's just the best. He's just the best. Well, he's not the best, they're all great, you know what I mean? He's very, very good.
Yeah.
So our next voice note was sent in by Liberty Smith.
I'm most excited for Wilf to come back, because even though I know it's going to be super emotional, but I just love Wilf so much, so I'm super excited for that. But I think mostly I'm like super excited for Doctor Who to be mainstream again. Not that it wasn't before, but just, I don't know, just to have Doctor Who back, and we waited so long, and yeah, I'm just so excited.
Oh, I'm so excited too. Wilf is definitely one of the moments I'm most excited to see. And it's going to be so, heartbreaking because it is Bernard Cribben's last on-screen appearance. But I'm just so glad that we genuinely are going to be like blessed with seeing Wilf one last time. I think it's so exciting.
Yeah, it's going to be heavy when we see that because, of course, they've kept Bernard Cribbins out of all the promotional material. And it's going to be such like a gut punch, I think, when we see him back on screen. It's going to be such a mix of feelings.
The episode's probably going to be dedicated to him.
Yeah, it will. It's going to really be like a oof, I think, moment when we see him back. So, yeah, it's going to be a really mixed bag, I think, to see him back.
I think so too, but I'm so excited. And like you said, it's just not that Doctor Who ever went anywhere, but I just feel like we're getting such a big audience. And the thing I'm most excited for is so many people fell off the show. And the more people I speak to, the more people I hear that were like, oh, I loved it as a kid. Oh, yeah, no, David Tennant's back. Have Dave's back. Yeah, no, I'm so excited to watch it again. And I can't remember the last time I heard casual Doctor Who fans talk about how excited they were to see it. That just makes me so happy.
It does feel like the excitement for this series has been building for so long, and now I'm making it everyone's business. I'm just making it everyone's business. And I don't know if it's that I've got closer to Doctor Who fans in the last year or got closer in terms of like finding more queer friends in the last year. Both definitely very much a linked thing, which I think is so lovely as well. But it feels like there's such an overlap now. It feels like in gay spheres, Doctor Who is like a real thing that is hard to ignore now. Even if you're really not a Doctor Who person, I'm sure like every gay now knows at least a handful of people that really are Doctor Who people. And I just like making it everyone else's business. And I think as well, like the way the anticipation has built for so long, like we were saying as well, just makes this like all the sweeter. And the way that when we get going, it is 3 specials, a week off or 2 weeks off, however many weeks, not very long.
Week and a
Christmas,
half.
And then a few weeks, spring. And it's just, we're off. So
I think they haven't confirmed it. I can definitely see them wanting to stick to the original schedules they did like in the 2000s where they bring it back in March. Because then it finishes in summer. I could definitely see that.
I can imagine it happening. And I think Shooty is going to be just like electric on screen. I'm more excited to see Shooty, I think, than I am to see David and Catherine. Dare I say that?
Oh no, I'm not. I am so excited to see Shooty, but I'm very happy to like. I know Shooty will be in the specials as well, but I'm very happy to wait for his turn because I'm so excited for Mum and Dad to be back on my TV.
You know what? That's totally true. You're right. I'm ready to wait a bit. Every time I see a new Dr. Donna clip, them bouncing off each other that isn't the same trailer that we saw last Christmas now, I'm like, okay, like, yeah, okay.
They're back.
And Bad Wolf Archives has been tweeting all this week as well, their favourite Dr. Donna clips.
One brain cell duo.
One brain cell duo. And every clip like sends me every time. And every time we get like a new little snippet of Donna from these specials, I'm sure there'll be way more out by the time that we publish this, but it's like, get off me, you space rat. It just makes me laugh. Makes me really laugh.
It's so good. So Jack Bennett sent in this for the podcast. He didn't send us a voice note, he wanted to send us some text, but I'll read it for you now. Jack says, love the pod. It's such a great thing to hear such a warm and non-toxic Doctor Who chat throughout your podcast. This is something that's sometimes missing from the fandom. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much, Jack. My first memory of the show was in year 2. I was 5, and our teacher asked the class at the end of the day, did you see the monsters with spaghetti coming out their mouths in Doctor Who on Saturday? It's safe to say the first thing I did when I went home was catch up on the recent new 2-parter. The show means so much to me. I'm a writer. Shameless plug, I've just published my first collection of poetry, and it's been such a huge part of me and the way that I write and view the world. Russell is definitely an idol of mine, and I can't wait for his second era. My favourite Who moment has got to be the Doctor and Donna seeing each other through the windows in Partners in Crime. I'm in stitches every time. What I'm looking forward to. This is felt already, but for the show to be a household name again. I have no doubt that the show's quality will be amazing, but I'm just so excited for it to be an appreciated show again. What an exciting future we have in store.
Oh, yes. It's hard to articulate this point correctly, I think, because I articulated it horribly a few weeks ago and created a Twitter pylon for myself. And I said something about like, whatever. Let's not repeat my comments. I got it wrong. I made a mistake. Speaking my truth, I'm so sorry.
Well, no, but it's that Doctor Who is bigger than it has been for a while.
It's bigger than it has been for a long time. It's about cultural relevance. It's about like, does your mum and dad know what's happening in Doctor Who and who the current Doctor is. You know, like, are you able to get together a group of people who like to watch Doctor Who together on a Saturday? I feel like that's going to be a lot easier to do now.
I think my cursor for it is I sculpted a little sculpture of Beat the Meat recently, and I showed it to my mum. I sent her a video of it, and I said, "Oh, you're not going to know who it is," and she went, "I know what it is. That's the monster from the new Doctor Who."
There we go.
And I was like, "How do you know what this is?" She was like, "I've seen it on TV." And I'm just thinking in my head, again, this is not a read to the Jodie era, but if I made a pating and I showed her the pating, I don't think she'd know what it was.
Yeah, the marketing has been incredibly good. The excitement has been building, and they did it through a SAG-AFTRA strike. They did a good job.
They did. And thank you as well, Jack, for your sweet comments about the podcast. It genuinely, that is my goal with this podcast, is there's so much negativity online generally and within the Doctor Who community. And I just think that it's our fun.
It's all in my texts. It's all in my text to you. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah,
I'm
exactly. Yeah, no.
Well.
And I'm not. And I do think there is a lot of toxicity in the community, and we always strive to harbour Wholala as a safe space for everyone who enjoys any era of Doctor Who, comes from any background, can just come and enjoy chatting about our favourite Blue Box show. Yeah. And it really does mean a lot to you say that. So thank you.
None of our opinions are that strong. None of them. Not one.
None of
There's
them.
not one opinion I hold that you couldn't change with a strong drink.
There you go.
That's the reality of it. Who needs toxicity?
Our next voice note was sent over from Thomas Luke.
Hiya, Sam and Alasdair. My name's Tom, and I'm a big fan of the podcast. You know, listen to it every Thursday during my lunch break. It's a really good time. You asked what our favourite Doctor Who moment is, and I hope I'm going to give you one that other people may not have said. I'm going to go with Lady Cassandra's death from New Earth. Now, not everybody thinks New Earth is a perfect episode. Those people are wrong. It's the best thing that's ever happened in television. But Lady Cassandra's brilliant in it. She's funny. David Tennant and Billie Piper get to camp it up. It's lovely. Funny. And then in the very last moments, there is such a tonal shift when you find out that she has accepted her death and gets to die in the arms of the woman that she loved the most. It's so brilliant. RTD is able to do this so quickly as well, and give us so much dignity to a character that we've hated in a way, but also, you know, she's stunning, she's an icon. There's something about that scene I love, and that's what I'm excited for with RTD coming back. He can give us these camp, but still so relatable, and also just that kind of stuff, if that makes sense. So yeah, very excited to see what he's going to bring to it. Hope you're all having a good day, and I'll chat to you later.
That was amazing.
That was amazing. That was so that was like binaural audio. You know, it's like ASMR, like.
Thank you so much for sending that through. What a moment. Cassandra's death, everything about Cassandra is so iconic. I think that she's one of the campest villains to ever come into Doctor Who. I think she's a real product of her time as well. Like, I never see them bringing her back. But I'm so glad that we had her while we did. And she truly is amazing. Her death, her life, her multiple lives. Amazing. It's such a good moment. I'm so glad that you brought that up.
Yeah, definitely a product of her time. I agree, though. Like, love. And so surprisingly emotional as well. Like a character who was just like cold, bitchy, unpleasant in the first series and totally irredeemable in the second series. We really feel sad to kind of see her die. It's very strange. After the first series, it's a bit of a joke about moisturize me. So I agree. What a special moment. Good pick.
Good pick. And thank you so much for listening to the podcast. We love that you listen to it on your lunch break. We hope that for a lot of people, it's become your little Thursday listening to. So we're glad to hear that you enjoy it.
Yeah, we hope we've warmed into your routines. My sister is so savage. She's so unpleasant. She said she saw someone when we were like, hey, we need our special co-host this week. Someone, lovely thing to say, said oh, I'd love the chance to be on this. Like, this is my comfort listen. And Anna was like, how can you be someone's comfort listen? Everything about you is unpleasant.
Anna!
She said everything
oh my
about
God,
you
that's so
causes
funny.
displeasure. And I was like, oh. It's just what I'm used to. Sisters,
they're doing it for themselves. So our next voice note is sent in by an early listener of Wholala. It's Matt Gavin.
So just going off that one clip of the Doctor banging on the walls and screaming, yeah! I am really looking forwards to David Tennant playing the Doctor as just completely incapable of regulating his emotions under stress.
I like that.
That's really funny. Matt actually sent us a message following that, and he said, yeah, as much as I love doctors like Capaldi, who are just unflappable, I do also love 10 and 14 going on temper tantrums on the regular, which I think is quite funny.
Yes. I'm trying to think, I can see a scene in my mind.
It's why does it have to be this? Like, that's what I'm thinking
trying to think of like a scene.
Oh, from 10.
Yeah.
Oh, is it from In the End of Time where he's like, it's not fair. Like, he's like, I should be able to get my reward and that bit.
Yeah, there's some great temper tantrum moments with 10, and I agree. I'm looking forward to this. What I'm really looking forward to about his performance is seeing how he's going to work in mannerisms of 11, 12 and 13 into his performance, because I feel like, unless we're all clowning and reading into things that aren't there, his whole face looks committed to the bit, because there are already pieces that people pulling out. There's a bit from a promo where he goes, "Oh
Scrunchy.
dear," but why? And he's doing. There's the scrunch, which is very 13 coded.
13.
But in this promo, there was a very Fourth Doctor coded look.
Oh,
as well.
yeah, but he was like, I'm here.
Yeah,
like that.
But why? And all this, and I've got a feeling we're going to see plenty of little mannerisms kind of baked in. I think they're going to have given it that level of thought, and I think David will as well, because David's a real fan of the show. So I think he'll have
I'm
thought
excited.
about it. Yeah.
Our next voice note was sent in by Rob Peters.
One of my favourite moments in New Who is the end of the parting of the ways. It was a fantastic episode in its own right, but along with Bad Wolf, it was just a brilliant season finale. There was a great concept. It had been built up so well in previous weeks. The episodes were well paced, and there was that perfect blend of terror and scariness, but with humour and the domesticity that had been introduced by Russell T Davies since the revival. So for me, it wasn't just the end of a great series. It meant there was so much promise from New Who, and I was so excited to see what happens next. I was a fan of the classic era already, so I was very familiar with the concept of regeneration, but I did not know it was going to be happening this soon, so that was extra exciting. You've got the Doctor setting up the concept beautifully. He says, maybe you will, and maybe I will, but not like this. Rose is so worried, she doesn't know what's going to happen, and then the Doctor bids her this perfect farewell. For me, it always felt like a meta comment on how well the first series had been received, and how great he and she were as the TARDIS team for the last 13 episodes. You've got Rose's shock. She doesn't know what's going on. She's thinking, who is this new guy that's just exploded into the room before me? And it's so satisfying to know that when the credits roll, there are going to be kids everywhere scratching their heads, looking towards their parents for answers, and just this huge question of what happens next, what's going on. It was just genius, and it was so much fun.
Oh my God, I love that note. That having like grinning ear to ear all the way through it. Rob, if you want the podcast, it's yours, because that was so much more articulate than a point we've made at any point in the last 50,000 episodes.
We've covered those episodes and we weren't as articulate as you.
We didn't. Like, as soon as you said domesticity, I was like, that's not even a word that was in my vocab. I love it. That was gorgeous. And I love your perspective as well, as someone who was already familiar with the concept of regeneration, watching it happen on screen, knowing that kids would be scratching their heads, kind of turning to the parents going, what was that? I love that so much. And a fantastic, pardon the pun, to
fantastic.
Well.
I just love, especially as a fan of Classic Who going into New Who, seeing how Rose reacts to regeneration, and like I really liked your comment as well on how it was almost like they were commenting on how they'd done as a series. They were like, you know what, so was I. Like that series one was so good, and now we're going to go into this transition for a new series. And I think that was just really insightful. That was a really insightful voice note. Thank you so much.
I loved it as well, that regeneration, because I felt like there was always something that felt so grounded and so real about the performance that Christopher Eccleston gave as the Ninth Doctor, and it really felt like it was something he was delivering like with care and concern to Rose, who was a real person. But it means I'm going to change. Like in that, there was this real like sincerity about like the process you're about to watch. It's going to be weird. I loved that. Like I've said before, but there's something so comforting to me about the performance of the Ninth Doctor. I love it. I love it.
It's so good. It's so good. Our final voice note is sent in by longtime friend of the pod, Ethan Posford.
Hi Sam, hi Alistair, and hello Wholala listeners. We're finally here! Happy Doctor Who 60th anniversary. I'm very excited. I'm sure most of the people listening to this are very excited too. We have been waiting a long time, but it is finally here. The specials are on our doorstep. Let's go. This show just means everything to me. It's been a huge integral part of my life for so many years. It has helped form a lot of my friendships, for our shared love of the show. It has helped reaffirm parts of my identity in terms of my queerness, in terms of being neurodivergent. And it has always been a comfort through a lot of changing times in my life. It's also been very surreal to now work in TV, and I've worked with some of the stars behind the show, like David Tennant and Mandip Gill and Nicholas Briggs, and also working on little things that are Doctor Who related, like we had a Dalek in our comic relief Eurovision sketch, which was a huge laugh to work on. Hearing Nick Briggs's booming voice whilst filming that was just gave me goosebumps. And more recently, having the joy of being one of the people to put together Jason Manford's and Mel Giedroych's costumes as the 4th Doctor and the 13th Doctor, as they're linking into the Children Need sketch. That was an absolute joy to help source those together, as well as brainstorm, because all those ideas to put that together. In terms of my favourite moment of the show, it is hard to boil it down because there's so much there's so much of the show now, especially now, 60 years. However, a moment that really stuck out to me recently was rewatching Day of the Doctor. This moment in particular, it's when the 10th and 11th Doctors reunites with the War Doctor on Gallifrey, and they decide they should help him through his decision of committing genocide, of destroying Gallifrey, the Time Lords, the Daleks, all of it. Especially considering the whole episode, it's exploring the Doctor's guilt about the Time War and how that has shaped them as a person, contrasting the differences on how it's impacted them between their 10th and 11th incarnations. So I think it's a beautiful moment to see both of them decide that they don't want their past selves to be alone in this. But what makes this moment even more special is when Clara intervenes, and when she tells her Doctor that she never imagined him doing this. And then the moment themselves shows all of them a projection of all the people in the Time War who they're about to burn, which makes Clara intervene, reminding the Doctor who they really are. Someone who is never cruel or cowardly, and never gives up and never gives in. And ultimately, that makes them change their mind after so many years to find another way, because that is what Doctor Who is all about. It is finding the best case scenario out of any dark situation, to never give up, to never give in, and to never be cruel or never be cowardly. It beautifully encapsulates what the Doctor as a character is about, and I think it has got to be one of my favourite moments of the show. It's a beautiful moment that really defines who the Doctor is. But yeah, enough rambling from me. I hope everyone has a lovely time celebrating this wonderful, unique show. And until then, allons-y.
Ethan, thank you so much for sending that in. It's so heartwarming, as always, to hear you talk about how Doctor Who's helped sort of like shape your identity in a way, and how with your sexuality and with your neurodivergence you've managed to connect to the show and find community, and that is always, I think that's what's important about this show. It really does bring people together. It certainly helped me in times where I wanted help and I was looking for help, and I'm really glad that it's connected with you in that way.
Yeah, also I love how many people grew up with the show and ended up working in TV, I think is so nice as well. Like how many people, and probably through things like Doctor Who Confidential as well, got interested in the behind the scenes and seeing what kind of different roles existed there and wanted to work in television themselves. It sparked that interest for them. I think it's so
Yeah,
cool.
for sure. I think it's definitely got a factor in my career, for sure. And I'm like, I really related, Ethan, when you were saying about people you've worked with, because I talk about in the pod all the time, people that I've worked with, and people will be like, oh, you dropped a name there. And I'm like, did I?
Did I?
But it's always so exciting when you work with people that you admired growing up and in a show that you love. So I love that you've had the chance to do that too.
Yeah. It's amazing. The community factor, like, obviously, like through doing Wholala has been massive. Like in the last year or so, we've been like, oh my God, like this is really cool. It's really nice that all these other people want to talk about my special interest. And we have so much fun doing it. And I really hope everyone like has their own way of doing that, whether that's, on Twitter/X or whatever, and finding other people they can talk to, or meeting new people at the galley cab or wherever it is that you get your Doctor Who outlet.
Exactly.
And a great moment as well that you chose. I think the Day of the Doctor, that's the section that I really downplayed, is that moment of choosing to find another way. It's one of, I think, the great retcons where Stephen Moffat was like, of course the Doctor didn't really destroy Gallifrey. Like, of course he found another way of solving the problem. And whether that means that there's kind of two timelines and two versions of events or not, it was a really cool way of dealing with it. And I really liked that promise that the Doctor had made, like never cruel or cowardly, never give up. I love the Doctor's promise in that as well, was really lovely. And it feels like Stephen Moffat really got to the core of who the Doctor is in a lot of those stories, and that was definitely one of them.
Yeah, I love Clara's line as well, where the Doctor's like, well, what do you want me to be? And she's like, well, you'll be what you've always been, be a doctor. Like, and when she says the world's got enough soldiers, any old idiot can be a hero, you be what you've always been, be a doctor. And I really love Clara in that scene. I think that Jenna Coleman does an amazing performance.
Clara, I miss you.
I love that people say about how every Doctor has their catchphrase, and it's like, fantastic, Allons-y, Geronimo, and it's, Clara, where's Clara? Clara, have you seen Clara? Where's Clara? Oh, well, thank you so much, everyone, for sending those in. I'm sure we had quite a few people reach out to us saying that they were going to send us voice notes and they didn't manage to send them before we recorded. If you do send us voice notes after time of recording, we'll try and include them in a future video. But I just want to thank everyone who did send in a voice note or a thought. We really do appreciate hearing from you. And it's so nice hearing thoughts other than mine and Alasdair's.
It's so refreshing.
Speaking of, would you like to hear some thoughts of mine and Alasdair's?
We've got thoughts.
We've got thoughts. We were having a quick think as well about some of our favourite moments in history and some things we're excited for coming up. And we just want to chat about them for a minute.
Yeah, so we've picked out a few of our favourite ever moments. Do you mind if I jump in with one?
You go.
I picked these kind of out of thin air, and I'm not sure if they're actually my favourite moments or if they're just three good moments, but indulge me. One is Jackie with the pickup truck. I'm thinking back to moments that at the time made me scream. And so that's what I'm going for. Jackie with the pickup truck was one. Mum, where the hell did he get that? Rodrigo, he owes me a favour. Never mind why. Just perfect TV. The heroic music when Jackie like pulls around the corner in the yellow truck, and it just being such like a stupid practical solution to a sci-fi problem.
Yeah.
Like, okay, how do we make the time machine go back to the year 200,000? Okay, you know what we'll do? We'll get a forklift truck and we'll just pull it open. Like, that's what we'll do. We'll just use Mickey's Mini, and that's not big enough. We'll just use the pickup truck that we borrowed off Rodrigo. Of course we will. It's just such a stupid solution, and it's so fun. And it also like speaks to like that sense of community that exists in RTD's world. People knowing people. I borrowed it off that guy who owes me a favour. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Never you mind why.
It's so good. It's so good. On that, one of my favourite moments is Jackie and the fresh regenerated 10 from the Christmas Invasion, where the Doctor's trying to explain, he's barely holding on to consciousness. He's going on, and he's like, oh no, not even that. Well, that whole bit as well. But the bit where he's like, we haven't got much time. If there's pilot fish, then why is there an apple in my dressing gown? And Jackie goes, oh, that's Howard, sorry. And the Doctor's like, he eats apples in his dressing gown. He gets hungry. he gets hungry in his sleep. Sometimes. Like, but yeah, the bit with the ham sandwich. What do you need? Cup of soup. Oh, nice cup of soup and a cooked up lamb sandwich. And he's like, I need you to shut up. Like, any conversation between Jackie and Ten in that, like you said, I don't know if this is my something simple, piece of soup. Like, I don't know if it's my favourite moment in Who History, but it is just something I keep coming back to. I think Jackie Tyler in general is just my favourite moment in Who History.
Genius,
it's like, food! You said we need food! Like, it's so
Mum,
good.
just leave it!
He's got 2 hearts. What else he's got 2 of?
Leave him alone.
Leave him alone. So good.
Go on, give me one of your other favourite moments then from Doctor Who history. One of your serious ones.
Okay, so one of my serious ones, I love in the 5 Doctors, I'm going to a classic for this one. I love when all of the Doctors finally unite, and I would say it's the 5 Doctors. It's actually the 4 Doctors because Tom Baker didn't come back. But they've just gone through like the maze of Rassilon and all of the different like games to get through to the final like hall, and they all are like reuniting, and they say the first Doctor says something about like, what's that, where's the little one, and then you just hear the second Doctor going, well, the little one is just fine, and comes in with the third Doctor, and all the companions kind of just stand to the side and they're nattering while the Doctor's trying to solve the problem, and it's just such a fun scene. And then the Master and Rassilon kind of mind wipe the 5th Doctor, like the current Doctor, to like be on their side, and then the first, second and third Doctors have to do the contact thing where they close their eyes and they're connecting themselves to the 5th Doctor, and he, you know, releases himself from the mind hold and he goes on their side and he's like, together we're unbeatable or something like that. Like, it's just such a it's always one of my comfort episodes, the 5 Doctors. I really truly love it, and I think that's just such a great scene, all of them together.
That's a lovely moment. A nice tribute to the classics there as well. And Doctors 1 to 5 have such different personalities as well. That's what's really cool, is that early in the show they recognized that it didn't need to just be different actors playing exactly the same characterization. They could play with it.
Yeah, exactly. I really love how the first Doctor's had a few actors play that incarnation before, and they really can play with the character, and just seeing all of them together is just so good. Go on, what's one of yours?
My next, like, scream at the TV moment was all of the Doctors saving Gallifrey. I remember being on the sofa and going like, oh my God, they're changing it. Like, they're changing it. Oh my God, they're changing it. Like, can they do that? Can they change the Time War? And that really being very shocking to me. And then it being like, oh my God, they have a plan. There's an alternative. And then we're back in the Time War, but things are changing. And it'd be like, to hell with the High Council. Their plans have already failed. And then, you know, like, oh, my worst nightmares. 3 of them. And then it's like, no sir.
All 13.
All 13. And that moment was bananas enough. But all of it, you know, when they're all kind of like in their individual TARDISes, and it's like, Geronimo, Alonzi, oh, for God's sake, Gallifrey stands. Just so much fun. I loved it. All the TARDISes, the way they stitched together the classic footage. So smart. And such an interesting way of including all the other Doctors.
And for my next trick.
Yeah, that was cheeky. That was
very cheeky. That was very, very cheeky, but I liked it all the
imagine if
same.
they had a little bit of like behind the scenes footage that we had, or like a
unused footage.
Unused footage. That would have been probably a bit too naughty. But
I think that was it. They just got away with what they did, I think. But yeah, I love how our points, without even like correlating on this, we've got like a fun Jackie Tyler thing, a fun multi-Doctor thing. I'm very excited to hear your next point.
I didn't even look at your list. We have one Jackie moment, one multi-Doctor moment, and we'll see how our next one.
Yeah, go on then. Give me your last moment.
Since you're so curious, we covered this very recently. My other moment, which was a scream at the laptop, not quite a scream at the TV, was the Dr. Donna coming to life. Smart Donna being activated. Donna, you can't even change a plug. You want to bet time, boy? All of that, and spin. And twirling her Daleks around and
the other way,
speaking her kind of sci-fi gibberish, and it just being such a truly joyful moment. The table has completely turned. Everything's going to be fine, and in such a fun and silly way against the most ridiculous odds, with just our favorite, funniest character, TB Gold.
Our favourite one brain cell duo.
Yeah, exactly. Or trio at this point. Just wonderful moment.
That's such a good moment.
You know, they've got that one Coronation Street clip they keep coming back to where she pulls down her newspaper and she goes, wonderful piece of television. Lovely piece of television. What's it? Is it wonderful or lovely?
I think it's wonderful. I can't remember exactly,
wonderful
but I think it's a wonderful piece of television. Well, my last moment, I did consider putting a Donna moment in this, but I actually didn't. My final favourite moment from Who history, and I've got millions more, but my final one that I'll talk about in this episode is when the Daleks and the Cybermen met and fought in Doomsday. The scene, the humour that you get with it, and also the actual drama, the scene where they meet has become so iconic, and it's recently been doing the rounds on TikTok as a TikTok sound where it's like, you will identify first. Daleks will have identity. You have identified as Daleks. Bugger! And it's like, the chest plates resembles known as Cybermen. Like, their interaction is so funny. But then when they actually fight, like, the Doctor comes in with his Sonic and they're like, it's harmless. And he's like, oh, it doesn't kill, doesn't wound, doesn't maim, but I'll tell you what it does do. It is very good at opening doors. And then the Cybermen come in and they're just like, delete. And the Cybermen have the huge, like, fuck off guns. And it's like, my casing is impaired. Like, it's just such a good scene. I really, really love seeing the Daleks and the Cybermen together.
That's the moment as well that I keep seeing at like drag performances that keeps coming back, and the one people keep doing lip syncs with on TikTok. I love that moment. Always iconic,
so
always
good.
Funny.
So good. I know that you've got a couple of songs you want to talk about for your favourite. You're such a soundtrack boy. You're a little soundtrack boy.
I just wanted to give like a little moment for any of the soundtrack fans, and I know there's a lot of you. So I was just going to say my favourite songs in Doctor Who, I think if I had to pick, would be The Shepherd's Boy, I think is my number one Doctor Who song by Murray Gold. Westminster Bridge, which is one of the first tracks we heard.
Classic.
Absolutely one of my all-time favourites. And I didn't realise until lately how many versions of Westminster Bridge we got as well. We got the original one in episode 1, Rose. But after that point as well, we got loads of
like variations,
additional little like versions and renditions and variations of it. Yeah, even in the opening of New Earth, we got a version of Westminster Bridge, which is super fun when the 10th Doctor is warming up his new TARDIS. And finally, I really liked Sagan Akinola's She's the Doctor, I think is wonderful. And the version of it that they did at the 60th anniversary concert with a full orchestra is beautiful. One of my favourites.
Well, look, I can't even list what I'm excited for coming up. The soundtrack, seeing our favourite one, Brain Cell Duo return, Shooty's outfits. There's so much to look forward to. And we're so close. We are 1 week away.
We are 1 week away. And at the point that we're publishing this, we are 2 days away. 2 days!
2 days. We are 2 days away from the first special, The Star Beast, airing on BBC One and BBC iPlayer at 6:30 p.m. We are so excited because next week we will be giving you our reaction to the first episode of the Whoniverse. It's here. Can you believe it's here?
I actually like it. It is suddenly so real for me realising the next episode of Wholala is the Star Beast review. Is just so surreal. I feel like we have to keep dipping into the old pot. We don't. It's fresh content all the way from here.
Fresh content. It's been over a year since we had fresh Doctor Who to talk about on Wholala. That was episode 2 of Wholala. We are now on episode 55, having had a few bonus episodes scattered throughout. I can't believe it's here. I'm so excited.
55 hours of Wholala is all it took.
Yeah, that's all it took. And thank you so much again to everyone who sent us a voice note. We love hearing from you and we want to continue to hear from you. So please let us know, what are you excited to see coming up in the 60th anniversary celebrations. Please reach out to us on all of our socials. We've got Twitter/X, Instagram, TikTok, Threads. You can reach out to on all of us at Wholala Pod. And you can also rewatch old episodes of the podcast on our YouTube channel, also at Wholala Pod.
Yes, we love hearing from you. We really, really genuinely do. And if there is a friend that you think might really love listening to Wholala Pod, do share an episode on your story, give us a review, send a DM saying, hey girl, this podcast is really good and you should listen to it. We really, really appreciate that. It helps us climb the rankings and claim Doctor Who dominance.
Which is what we're setting out to do all along.
Yeah.
Enjoy the Star Beast on Saturday. Enjoy all the celebrations. Enjoy Bargain Hunt. Enjoy the colorization of the Daleks. And we will see you next week.
Have a wonderful week, friends. Stay safe. Be well. Have lots of fun. Watch lots of TV. Watch the Star Beast 4 or 5 times. We give you permission to do it.
Yeah, exactly. Honestly, happy anniversary. This is a huge time for all of us Doctor Who fans, and we just hope you have fun. Have a great week.
It really is. We love you so much. Goodbye.
Goodbye.